Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mustang Mood podcast. My name is Ben De Leon. I'm here alone this week. The other guys are busy during the week. We did have the midweek mood episode with Brian Filker on Monday, the director of recruiting operations. You should go check that out. Wanted to hop on here and do a BC preview as well. So it is game week. First of all, I want to thank Summers Pet Treats for sponsoring this episode. If you go to summerspetTreats.com, use the code Mustang10, you get 10% off your first order, and they are all natural dog treats. So good that humans can eat, as the guys have tried and can attest to that. Also check out the mustangmood.com for all of our content, for any of our merch. Get some good deals up there. If you meet us on the boulevard, snap a picture, we'll get you a discount code. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That would be really helpful for us. If you're on YouTube, on Spotify, give us a follow, give us a rating. That would really help boost the podcast. SMU plays BC this week in Boston College. First time up in Boston since 2 years ago at the Fenway. I think it was the Wasabi Bowl or something, which was a nightmare. Absolutely horrific game. So far, SMU opened as 12.5 favorites. It's dropped to 11.5. The over-under is 55. Interesting game. Boston College is 1-8, which might be a little bit misleading, making you think that they're a really, really bad team. They actually have been playing pretty decently lately. So we'll start with just some things we know about Boston College. 2 weeks ago, they played Louisville. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but and they lost 38-24. That was at Louisville. That game was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Boston College had a couple opportunities to tie the game up. Didn't quite, obviously, get it done. And then last week, this past Saturday, played at home to Notre Dame. Lost 25-10, but again, it was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. I think in the fourth quarter, definitely in the third quarter. They were only down 12-7 at half. One of the big turning points was in the third quarter, they had a drive. I think they got the ball first. They had a drive. It lasted 11 minutes. They had about 21 plays. They got stopped at the 5 and kicked a field goal to go down 12-10, and they obviously did score again. But if they'd scored there, they would have been up 2, and you never know what could happen. They did turn the ball over 3 times compared to Notre Dame's 1. Against Louisville, they also turned the ball over 3 times. Before that, they lost to a bad UConn team, and then they got destroyed by Clemson and Pitt. So it seems like the performance is starting to improve a little bit as the season goes on. Might be due to the quarterback change. Dylan Lonergan, which I think is an Alabama transfer, has been their quarterback for most of the year. But Grayson James, guy we know well, we saw him last year in Dallas during that close game. I think he came back to play in versus Louisville as well as during Notre Dame, and he's a senior. He's actually from Richardson, Texas, so interesting. But seems like he's been playing a lot better than the other guy. And Bill O'Brien, Boston College's coach, confirmed that he'll be starting this week. It seems like their running game isn't so good, but it seems like the passing game is picked up. I know from last week against Notre Dame, they got back 2 key contributors, one on defense, one on offense. I think has helped them a lot. So as much as you see that number 1-8 and you think, okay, this is going to be a blowout, it doesn't really show the full story, as we see that this team is playing a lot better football, especially the last 2 weeks. Although they are coming off, again, of 2 really tough games. At Louisville and then at home to Notre Dame and then now hosting us. It is also their red bandana game, which is interesting. I know that can always make it a little bit tougher. I think they usually show out a little bit better for those types of games. So definitely not an easy one coming this week, as much as some of us want to think that. It was interesting to see Bill O'Brien's press conference, especially concerning some comments Kevin Jennings made over the ACC media days about how Boston College is one of our rivals. I definitely think a lot of us had a bad taste in our mouth from the Fenway Bowl and how that went, and then obviously last year was a really close game. Nearly blew that one, which would have been a huge loss. So this is a team we have struggled with. We haven't done well in Boston lately. I know that I saw a stat somewhere that Kevin Jennings has not played well when the weather is cold. I think he might be winless when it's under like 50 degrees or something like that. I don't know exactly how true that is. And then for this weekend, we're looking at high of 60, low 48 with 60% chance of rain. Looks like it won't be very much. But 0.2 inches, yeah, not a lot of rain, but I'm sure that'll make that cool weather feel a lot worse. So we'll see. I mean, I think there are some makings for this game to be tougher than what we would have thought. I think before the season we would have thought this would be a tough game. I think now that we've seen that they haven't had a very good year, that you might be thinking, oh, this should be an easy win. I am interested to see what happens. I think in my thinking, there's two different emotional components at play. I think for SMU, coming off a very emotional win, you can see a letdown sometimes. However, we had the letdown the week before at Wake Forest. And so I think for me, it's hard to see us getting down again when we know that happened before and we blew that game against Wake Forest. Obviously 13-12, horrific game, bad loss. Honestly, we'd probably be ranked if we hadn't lost that game, but it is what it is at this point. And so as much as you could see an emotional letdown after a big win like we had this past weekend against Miami, I would be surprised if we saw that from this team again. I mean, how many times do you need a wake-up call? And so we already have 3 losses. Again, I just don't see that happening, but it's a possibility. Overconfidence can come in. Again, we don't see that kind or hear that kind of stuff from the coaching staff and the people we know. But you never know. Whereas for Boston College, I'm sure there's going to be an emotional uptick in terms of the red bandana game. They've been playing better lately. I know that if you saw his press conference again, Bill O'Brien was very fiery and feisty, talking about how the team has not given up. And I mean, to be fair, they're 1-8. They played Louisville and Notre Dame into the fourth quarter, so it doesn't look like the team's given up completely, which you might expect from a team that's 1-8 at a school that traditionally isn't a good football program. And so clearly they're still fighting, they're still playing, so I don't think we should expect them to roll over. Again, it's a home game, it's as we said before, it's their red bandana game, which is, I know, really meaningful to that school. So should be interesting. I think another potential emotional component at play could be, Boston College is coming off of 2 very emotional losses. Again, being close with ranked teams, going to the fourth quarter is really hard, especially, Notre Dame at home. So you wonder if there's an emotional aspect in terms of, like, we've almost done it twice and we can't do it. Like, maybe it's just not going to happen for us. And so, of course, SMU is not ranked, and we're not necessarily on the level of Notre Dame, obviously, who I think is overrated, just saying. Notre Dame being at 10 in this college football playoffs above some other 2-loss teams, I thought was ridiculous because they haven't beat anybody, and they have 1 good loss and 1 decent loss, and that we beat Miami. So anyways, not the point of this podcast, but just wanted to put that in there because, actually we'll be seeing them next year, so not a huge fan of Notre Dame. Anyways, so you wonder if there's that aspect of, I mean, we just can't get it done against these guys. I mean, again, SMU is not having as good of a year as those teams, obviously. We'll see. I mean, we do host Louisville in a couple weeks. I think we'll have a good chance at that. I mean, I think we're a good team. I think we have a good offense. I think we had 1 really, really bad game in Wake Forest. But otherwise, the offense has been rolling. I mean, again, it was crazy that how injured Kevin was. He was just I thought he was incredible against Miami. I know that Boston College had a ton of injuries. I think they have a lot of injuries in the secondary, so the question is, are they going to be able to stop our receivers? Jordan Hudson was outstanding on Saturday. He's been really, really good lately. Romello Brinson is also very good. He was a little quiet, but we have RJ, we have Hibner, and then we have Jalen Cooper, some of the younger guys. Ymir Knight actually had a good game as well. So we have a lot of weapons. I think it's going to be hard for Boston College to deal with. They did a good job, for the most part, stopping the run against Notre Dame, who obviously has 2 very good backs. I believe that they held them pretty well till the end, where Jeremiah Love broke a big run, a 94-yarder. He ended up with 136 yards, so obviously that kind of skews the statistics. I think that was at the very end. Their other good back, Jadarian Price, was 9 carries, 12 yards. So, and then going back to the Louisville game as well, if I can just get there in a second. Okay. Louisville ran all over them, 200. They had 300 total yards. So it seems like it's a little bit up and down the run game. The only reason I was bringing that up was, interestingly enough, not being able to stop Louisville's run game, but then doing a good job on Notre Dame's is interesting and says something about their defense. I know they got one of their big defensive contributors back, which probably was a big boost. But we're not a team that runs the ball, so whatever the statistics there, I wasn't necessarily super worried about it. I do think it may help getting if we get Chris Johnson Jr. back healthier, because I think we saw him maybe a couple plays on Saturday, but I think he limped off. I don't think he played much again. I think we kind of abandoned the run, which has been a problem at times, but I mean, that's what the game called for on Saturday, and so we did some good work on Miami's defense. I don't think Boston College's is as good, but again, like they seem to be playing better than they had started. So we'll see what that looks like. I do think SMU will have a favorable matchup. We'll be able to move the ball a lot, and then the question will come down on defense. Obviously, SMU is one of the worst pass defenses. This has been talked about a lot, and there's been some inconsistency in terms of who's at quarterback for Boston College, as we discussed earlier. I think they did get one of their better passing options back last week, and so that'll probably be a boost to their offense. Against Notre Dame, let's see, Grayson James, 25 for 37, 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And I think he hasn't played a ton this year, but you can go back to his games. He and they as a team are prone to turn the ball over a lot. It seems like they can move the ball a decent amount. They don't seem to have a very good run game, which we're good at stopping the run anyway, so making them one-dimensional can make it challenging. Again, our secondary isn't very good, but they've been a lot better in the last 2 weeks, and very opportunistic, as we've seen, have forced a lot of turnovers. Obviously, we saw that this past weekend against Miami. So I think there's a good matchup there in the sense of where they like to get the ball away, we like to force a lot of turnovers, so I could see that being a big swing in the game. And it seems like SMU's done a better job of limiting turnovers. I think Kevin Jennings has been a lot less cavalier in terms of how his decision making, and so I think that's another positive for SMU going into this game. And again, the more time he gets, the more ideally healthy he'll get throughout the week. And even then, like, I mean, he limped off. We talked about this on the post-game pod. He limped off on one play, could barely walk, was trying to run, came back on 2 plays later, and just didn't even look like he was injured. Like, an absolute warrior. I never questioned his toughness, his physicality. I mean, the dude can play injured. I don't know how he does it. A lot of quarterbacks can't do it, but I mean, he was incredible. So I have really high hopes for the offense. I think the defense, again, is a struggle, but they're very opportunistic. They force a lot of turnovers, and I think that'll play into our hands. So I have, as much as, I talked about, there are things to worry about. I don't see SMU having another emotional letdown despite a big emotional win. I think, again, the Wake Forest game, it's hard to forget that one, and so I don't think they're going to fall asleep again. I think this could be a close game. I could see it being similar to the Louisville and Notre Dame game, where it's close going into the third or fourth quarter, but then some of the depth that SMU has, which again is not on the level of Miami, but it's going to be significantly higher than what Boston College has, I think will show out, especially on the defensive line. Boston College has not done a good job of getting to the quarterback, bringing pressure, and I think that's just going to play right into Rhett Lashley and Kevin Jennings' hands. I think they're going to be ready to go. I think there is going to be a little bit extra of that exercising the demons in the Northeast, because we've been so bad in Boston the last few times we played there. I think they'll be ready to go. The weather doesn't seem too bad, so I do think that we should see a good showing from the boys up there. But I do think, like I said earlier, it's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be a rollover game, I don't think, unless we force turnovers early and often. It could get away from Boston College, and I don't think they're the type of offense that's good to play from behind, especially with Bill O'Brien's pro style background. So if we can get ahead early and start fast, I think that's a good omen for us. But I could see us starting slow, as we have it sometimes, and the crowd really getting into it, and then taking a little bit of time for us to kind of settle all that down. In terms of predictions, I got from the guys. Jay predicted 13-12 SMU win, which is too soon. That's painful. Walker is predicting 35-20 SMU, and then Yannick is predicting 27-14 SMU. I think I'm going to go with probably, I think I'm kind of on the same page as Walker, 35. I'm going to go with 35-21. I think it might be maybe a one-score game in the third quarter, maybe early in the fourth, but I think we'll pull away. I think as much as our run game was bad, we were able to use it and put the game away when it mattered, and I think that's something that Boston College doesn't have. I think, again, they're very banged up on their defense, especially in the secondary, and so I don't see them able to stop us for long, and I can see our defense forcing a couple turnovers, and that's kind of the difference. So I'll go with 35-21. SMU win. Should be a good game again. I think the guys are going to be excited to go into Boston and and show out. And I mean, like we still have a chance, realistic chance to make ACC championship. So none of these games don't matter; they all matter. And I think last week showed what we can be, and so we'll see if the guys are ready to go again. But again, I don't expect a letdown like we did to Wake Forest. So, yep, all 4 of us predicting SMU wins. Excited for the game. Another 11 a.m. kickoff, which I kind of prefer 11 a.m. when it's on the road, especially not at night. I think it allows the other crowds to get into it. But so yeah, that's all we have for today. Again, we'd love for you to follow SummersPetTreats.com. Use the code Mustang10 for 10% off for your all natural dog treats. Check out the MustangMood.com for all of our stuff, for our merch. If you need anything, apparently, I heard somewhere that apparently we might wear red this week, because Boston College always wears like, they have white, like red bandana jerseys, but I think it'd be funky if we wore red, because their color is red. I don't know if that's going to happen. If you care, some people really care about the jerseys. I mean, I don't. I think wearing red at that game would be kind of stupid, but it is what it is. I think the players picked the uniforms, so. But anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. This is the Mustang Mood podcast. Please like, subscribe, post comments if you score predictions, any way to support and give visibility to our channel. And we're super grateful for all the people who've been following us thus far, and it seems like we're starting to grow, and that's really exciting. We're grateful for the opportunities SMU has given us to have access to the team. It's been really fun. So here we go. Hopefully getting our 7th win this week and staying in contention for the ACC championship. Hoping for some losses from some of the other teams in contention. I know it's really complicated. If I have it correctly, I believe that we need Virginia to beat Duke. If Virginia's only going to lose 1 ACC game because they have no ACC losses, because I think Duke might have the tiebreaker over us. And then we need Pitt to beat Georgia Tech, get them 2 losses, and then obviously we have to beat Louisville. So it's still a long way to go. Still got 2 tough games left, but there are some realistic chances of us making it back to Charlotte, which I didn't see, especially after the non-conference, especially not after the Wake Forest loss. So everything to play for at SMU. Programs still continuing to build. Exciting things coming and happening. I know it was a huge recruiting weekend, so really excited. But again, thanks for joining us on this preview, and hope to see the Ponies win. So pony up.